Hey everybody, it's kind of early in the morning, but fuck, I figured we should get this out. Ah, man, I am the embodiment of sloth. That's all I can think. Early in the morning, it's 11 o'clock in the afternoon. Like
I
fucking.
looked down at my stew and realized I'd eaten more of it than I thought. My head was throbbing, even behind the painkillers. Sandy Shore had pushed away from the table and was wandering off toward the section of the strip mall which had once been a Helping Hoof Quick Care. Among the faded posters and flyers papering its windows, I spotted a gray one with black block letters.
What's it say?
Remember what separates ponies from zebras. Not stripes, not cutie marks, but what is inside. There is good in all of us. No pictures. No ministry affiliations. It almost looked like it could have been made locally. Embarrassment pushed me through my numbness. I hoped Zenith hadn't seen it. I looked across the lot to where she was eating food of her own cooking. Alone, save for the merchant's cattle, one of whom had bandages wrapped around its leg, courtesy of Velvet Remedy. "What are the marks on your flanks?" I heard Calamity ask as I got it from the table and made my way over to Zenith. "They look like brands." There was an odd tone in his voice. "Yep, it's an Arbu mark," a mare told him proudly. "We get it after we eat the heart of our first kill. Only ponies with an Arbu mark can vote in the town council."
That's kind of fucking metal. And I totally got the cannibal implication there, but that's really fucking metal. Like, I actually like that. That's pretty... Like, I understand, like, oh, you killed that guy. I guess you better eat his heart. Like, oh. Like, again, as long as it's kept to, like, bad people, like bandits and shit, that's cool. Holy fuck.
I settled down next to Zenith, tuning out the conversation that the others were in. I was having trouble following it anyway. Probably the concussion. Or maybe it just didn't seem so important. It was hard for such little things to seem important when I kept seeing Sandy Shore hugging his father, crying. Or the mare whose eye had become a horrific black moon sun thing.
Ah.
Or the unicorn scribe murdered by her own rangers in some sort of political move I still didn't understand.
I don't think anybody does.
I looked at what Zenith was eating. "Please tell me they didn't refuse to offer you food," I said, my hackles rising. "No," she said simply. "I cook for the medical pony and myself. Neither of us cares for stew of meat. I just hope I did not offend." Oh. Oh, yeah. That makes sense. "We should be apologizing to you," I replied earnestly. "Why?" "Well, because..." I glanced back in the direction of the poster.
Lil Pip, it's only awkward if you make it awkward.
Maybe she hadn't seen it. "You did not write that." Damn it, she had. "Nor any of the ponies alive today, here or anywhere else. You should not apologize for what ponies who are not you did long before you were around to stop them." My head swam a bit, and it took me a moment to realize we weren't just talking about ponies. I nodded, understanding. "None of us would blame you for what happened in the war." I paused, realizing that wasn't quite correct. Well, Steelhills would, but I think even he's coming around. My thoughts returned to the poster. They could have at least painted over it, though. "They are hunting their prey to extinction," Zenith informed me. "Soon, there will be no more meat to barter with. I do not begrudge them for not spending what little they have on such luxuries as paint." I thought of the number of radigators we had seen at the hatchery. When I had been thinking we might have to fight them, there had been a lot. But when viewed as both food and trading supplies, there were hardly any. I hoped the river held significantly more, and found myself wondering what a bad year amounted to here in Arbu. My brain seemed to slip. I felt like I had lost a bit of time. Back at the tables, I heard Calamity asking where the new graves were. I felt a sudden urge to pay my respects to the bandit I had killed, no matter how ludicrous or meaningless the act would be. "Oh, we ain't buried them yet," an Arbu buck replied, Ground's too muddy. Got the bodies locked up in the clinic cellar for now. Emerald Fire shot a dark look at the buck. Calamity nodded. Velvet Remedy coughed with alarm.
Hey, isn't that where Sandy Shore was headed?
Don't worry, Miss. Got the cellar locked up tight. No pony's gonna get in there without the key. Yeah, because apparently the only pony in the entire wasteland who can pick a lock is me. No, wait. There is at least one other. Probably part of the Philadelphia Steel Rangers. Or maybe some pony who works for Red Eye. I stopped, suddenly suspicious that my lock-picking rival must be Red Eye himself.
That would be
I
amusing.
had no facts to base such an assumption on, but it felt right.
That would be really amusing.
The sense of duality was too perfect. The certainty slipped from my wounded mind almost as quickly as it manifested. I found myself staring at a puddle and not knowing how long I had been doing so. I looked up swiftly enough for my head to pound, but every pony was where I had last saw them, except for Sandy, who was sitting morosely in the corner between the clinic and a dark vertical wall sign for Starbucked, the coffee shop that wasn't Java's Cup. As the first rays of sunset dipped below the cloud cover, the wall sign suddenly lit up, bucked on by some ancient timer miraculously still running.
Cool.
Other lights flickered on, about a third of them still functional, illuminating the mall in patchwork pools of light. My eyes caught on the sign that lingered there, an image of two very attractive mares, twins, one with a cream-colored mane and a coffee-brown coat, the other with the same brown for her mane and a creamy coat, who were entwined around each other almost as much as their tails were entwined around a cup of steaming coffee with the Starbucks logo.
That's
All
provocative.
backlit by lights that flickered and threatened to go out. My mind supplied a logo for them.
Buy our coffee and we'll let you watch us make out.
What was that? Zenith asked. I flushed with embarrassment as I realized I'd said that out loud.
You're not the only one that thought of it.
Nothing. Just looking. I winced and quickly clarified. At the coffee shop over there. Zenith followed my gaze. Are they bucking the stars, or the stars bucking them? I think they're bucking each other. I replied before I realized she wasn't paying attention to the lesbian-cestuous mares. I thought about turning to see her expression, but my eyes didn't want to leave the sign. Are you all right, little one?
No, she is drugged the
Oh,
fuck
just a
up.
concussion, I answered.
I will
Then-
be so sad if these turn out to be evil cannibals who drugged Lil Pip to eat her. Like, just once, I want some some cool guy cannibals. You know, like, keep the Aztec theme of eating the heart, you know? Well, okay, that's not really Aztec. I don't think they ate the heart, but, you know, keep that sort of theme of ripping out the heart of your first kill and eating it. That's metal as fuck. You could keep that. Like, that's cool. Like, that's disgusting, but it's cool. Like, just once.
in a transition that only made sense to me at the time. So, Velvet Remedy talks to a Brahmin now. Yep, she's a real kind pony, that one. One of the Brahmin responded. Polite, too. I began to nod. Yeah, she really... So, what? I jumped up, stumbling backwards over Zenith, and fell flat on my tail. The Brahmin's right head smiled at me while the left one continued chewing its cud obliviously. You can talk? I stammered, then flushed. I'm sorry, I didn't know that Brahmin were... well... smart? The Brahmin had asked as I picked myself up, looking up at Zenith apologetically. The zebra just shook her head. Yeah, I admitted, feeling foolish. She chortled. Not many pony folk even tried talking to us. Not that I blame you, most of us are dumb as posts. Ain't that right, Herbert? She said, looking at her other head. The other head just kept chewing. I looked to Zenith, but she was just watching me with amusement. Yeah, I don't really get any good conversation from him, she said dourly. I felt stupid. Sorry, concussion. Brain no worky. I'm Lil Pip. Well, howdy there, Little Pip. I'm Bess, and this is my other half, Bob.
God, please let this be a new companion. Battle Brahmin would be awesome!
Bob? I asked, wondering how one head could be male and the other female. I looked at Bess over. She sported several bandages, including a bandaged leg and a medical brace, courtesy of Velvet Remedy. Definitely a female Brahmin, judging by her bulging udder, although I couldn't recall if I'd seen any male Brahmin. Not that I'd been paying enough attention to notice if I had. Yep, Bob, the Brahmin told me. I just call him Herbert to get on his nerves. Oh. From the looks of Bob, nothing much could get on his nerves. I didn't think Bob was even aware that a conversation was going on. Most Brahmin got 2 heads but only half a brain between 'em. I'm one of the lucky ones, Bess claimed. If you count being saddled for life with Bob here, lucky. Anywho, tell that mare friend of yours thanks again for patching up my leg. Did a real fine job, she did. Polite, too. Mayor from the Ministry of Peace took Darlin away yesterday. Apparently she's being held at a WSD treatment facility in Manhattan. I picked up a renewable 1-month pass on the Luna line so I can see her regularly. Had our first snow today. Winter brings his own set of small problems to them all. Now I'm in charge of shoveling snow from the sidewalks and rooftops, keeping the lot salted so no pony has an accident. Business is picking up at the coffee shops, but most of the other stores are suffering the normal drop in customers. Only the regulars are up to braving the snow. Caught a couple hoodlums spray painting disparaging things about Princess Luna on the backside of the Sunny Suds building. One of the delinquents tried claiming WSD as a defense for his actions. Well, that pissed me right off. Having a family member who really is suffering. I'm sick of ponies using WSD as an excuse for what's really just bad behavior. Then the other little bastard turned his spray can towards me, and I finally got a chance to use his cattle prod. He was still shaking when the police ponies arrived. Spent the afternoon giving statements. Mrs. Weathers' damned poodle peed on my leg while I was talking to the officer. Really wanted to club that little monster with the prod as well.
Jesus Christ, man!
As the audio log ended, I trotted slowly over to the table where Velvet Remedy and Calamity were still chatting with the Arbu ponies. The merchant had finished eating, and was rolling out a sleeping bag just inside the shattered storefront of what had once been a comic book shop, sandwiched between Sunny Suds and Custard's Cakes. I could see another sword mare's poster on the wall above rows of empty shelves. This is the 5th time this year that damned water purifier has burned out. Honestly, I think the little bastard is simply beyond hope. We keep fixing her up and jury-rigging her together, but there's only so much we can expect. Emerald Fire was telling Calamity. Once it's gone, I don't know what we'll do. We tried negotiating with the Steel Rangers for access to their water talisman, but all they do is shoot at us. I came to a halt, blinking. Wait. I looked up at the dark silhouette of Buckling Cross, scattered lights illuminating small bits of the shadowed pier that towered out of the water just downstream of Arbu. Turning to Steelhooves, I asked, "That bit of bridge had a water talisman built into it?" "No," Steelhooves replied with a slightly derisive tone. "But Elder Cottage Cheese brought several back with him from his raid on the Ministry of Peace hospital out near Friendship City." Friendship... I paused.
What?
Hold on. Several?
Yes. Even then, I think he was planning ahead.
Damn it! Grandpa Rattle screamed out from his loft. You fuckers still here. Get out before it's too late! Emerald Fire face-hoofed. Will some pony please shut him up?
No!
A couple of ponies, including the one-eyed milk-colored pony, scooted off. I've got a shotgun! I ignored him, turning to Emerald Fire.
I kinda like
They
him.
have several water talismans in there, and they won't give you clean water. My mental haze was fading, sharpening into a deadly focus. The green pony, with a cute little flame for a cutie mark above her Arbu brand, nodded. We don't have much. Radigators have been getting scarce, but we're willing to trade what we've got for good water. I felt a simmering anger. Why should you have to? It's water. You need it to live. Steelhooves bristled. Calamity jumped up. Whoa there, Little Pip. He neighed as he flew over to me. Nothing wrong with selling necessities if that's what you gotta sell. He whispered hastily. Do you remember that these folk make a living selling meat? Steelhooves nickered under his breath.
Applejack sold apples. Got a problem with that?
I stopped, checking myself. In the stable, the needs of life were provided by the stable.
Communism,
Basic
ho!
food, water, a place to stay, even barding. Work was assigned too, according to our special talent. We paid only for luxuries, either from the allowance that the overmare assigned, or from the gains of profitable hobbies. That worked for stable too, but it was not the way of the equestrian wasteland. Still, I couldn't help but feel angry at the Steel Ranger's refusal. "That's different," I insisted finally. "You're talking about ponies who work for what they sell. The ponies here risk life and limb hunting. Even gardeners toil to grow their vegetables.
Yeah.
But the Steel Rangers, this is a water talisman. It provides water freely. They didn't even create it. They stole it." "Scavenged," Calamity corrected curtly. "Fine, scavenged. So they work to get it too. But that doesn't mean they shouldn't share." My voice was rising. Unbidden, a stupid song started to play in the back of my head. You gotta share. You gotta care. It's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I absolutely hated the song.
Oh, I hate
but
it
at the
too.
same time, it struck me as impossibly sage. Sandy Shore's glass had been filled with pure rainwater. But what would happen when that rainwater ran out, and the water purifier still refused to function? I killed the poor colt's father. The least I could do was make sure the water he was drinking wasn't fucking poison. I owed him that much. I owed him a whole hell of a lot more than that. "Little Pip?" Velvet Remedy asked cautiously. "What are you thinking?" "Load up Elder Cottage cheese," I barked to Steelhooves. If I was the leader here, then I was damn well going to lead.
Woo!
We're heading to Buckland Cross. But this time, we're not just going to give their elder back for free. We're bartering.
Steelhooves neighed. "Judging from what happened this afternoon, what makes you think they even want their elder back?"
Probably
He
fucking
walked
don't.
towards me.
"I've been thinking about this all evening, Little Pip. And I'm convinced that they were hoping he would die at our hooves. Or, at least, that they could claim so with little opposition. Dead, he's a martyr for their cause. Alive, he's the elder who keeps sending Steel Rangers to their deaths into the Canterlot ruins, and whose leadership led to the crippling of the Manhattan contingent in his efforts to take Stable 2 and Stable 29.
I stared back at him, taking that in. "Think they'll attack us again?"
Probably.
"Good," I hissed.
Yeah!
"Little Pip!" Velvet Remedy gasped. I turned to her. "I didn't start this, but I'm itching to end it. One way or another, we're coming back from Buckland Cross with a water talisman."
I scowled.
"No, make that 2. We're getting one for Stable 29, too." Calamity shook his head. "Little Pip, think this through. Do that."
Shut up and let the fucking player character do her job! God damn it! Player morality is superior to yours! God, I love this. I love it when Lil Pip just starts going nuts. I just like it when she starts going nuts. It's great.
And you signed Arbu's death warrant." I stepped back, stunned by his words. "Right now, they're nothing to the Steel Rangers. Give 'em a water talisman, and you give 'em something the Steel Rangers want. And you know the way they'll come to take it." I grimaced, thinking of the Steel Rangers' attack on Stable 2.
Oop.
"Oh, I have not forgotten." Velvet Remedy cringed, her voice soft and still slightly raspy. "Little Pip, I know where this comes from. There's a part of my heart that wants revenge on them too. But this isn't right."
Shut the fuck up! God damn it, just... Okay, look, I get lots of people say violence isn't the answer. Yes, it is. Violence is totally the answer. God damn. Just kill them all and you will solve half your problems.
"No," I stomped.
I think it is. And I think it's about damn time.
I looked over at my friends. They were eyeing me with concern. Maybe even fear.
Look, I understand if you don't want to come with me on this one. I won't think any less of you.
Zenith held her tongue as she had done for years. Still saying nothing, she trotted to my side. Calamity shook himself, spreading his wings. I ain't saying I don't want to go. I'm just saying we do it smart. Friendship City ain't too far from here. We take the first water talisman there, and Velvet Remedy talks him into trade that includes water rights for the Abu ponies. I nodded. Calamity's plan
I don't think that works, cause like they probably don't even want their fucking elder back. Like, oh.
was much more sound than mine.
You say that, but then what happens when they don't keep the deal? You just gotta go back and you gotta shoot them.
So you're in? Oh, hells yeah. Calamity grinned. You think I'd pass up a chance for an adventure with you? After all my whine about being left behind, you think I'm gonna give up now?
Yes.
Velvet Remedy face-hoofed.
Some ponies should stay here with Firelight,
she began, then sighed.
but you ponies are going to get yourselves all killed without me.
Yeah, probably.
She looked to me sternly.
But I don't like this. And I'm going to do the negotiations. I don't think that any of you are diplomatically inclined towards the Steel Rangers right now.
Should
Well,
they
you-
be?
Calamity asked her.
No,
Velvet admitted.
but unlike most of you, I can fake it.
Spent some time with Sis today filling out applications for a place in one of the Stabletech war shelters. The non-refundable deposit took most of my paycheck, but it'll be worth it just to take one worry off my sister's head. Ever since Darling was taken, she's been slipping from me a bit more. I think she's been drinking, but I can't never smell it on her breath when I'm over. I've been to visit Darling twice this month. She's definitely looking better and has some of her cheer back. Whatever the Ministry of Peace is doing to treat her, it seems like it's working. She's almost like her old self now. Only thing off is that it seems like she's been forgetting some things. I asked her about her birthday party and she got strangely quiet. Then she told me she doesn't remember having one this year. The mayor I spoke to at the hospital says that temporary memory loss is a side effect of her therapy. Honestly, it was just so good to see Darling smiling again, I was fine with that. Saw one of them little hoodlums I caught spray painting a couple months ago. He was dressed up fine, mane combed over, looked presentable. He stopped on the street to thank me for helping him out and putting him on the right path. I was so stunned I told him it was my pleasure. Asked him how that other buck was doing and he looked away, saying something about trying not to think about bad influences. Things at the strip mall have been interesting. Mr. Beans and Jamocha Joe have stepped up their advertising war. I fully expected to get an earful from Mr. Beans last week when Jamocha erected, no pun intended, that huge, hot, and steamy Starbucks sign with the twins espresso and latte laying all over each other surrounded by steaming cups of Starbucks. But he seemed almost cheerful about it.
Wahoo!
Found out why yesterday when the new Java's Cup sign went up. Not as much sex appeal, but the billboard was huge. Easily 20% larger than the Starbucks billboard. And the whole thing is done in patriotic colors with an image of the princess in the corner endorsing it as the best thing to keep you up all night. I have to wonder if he had permission to use her image like that. Jamocha Joe spent most of the day trying to persuade me that Java's Cup billboard was too big, against regulations, and a hazard come the next windstorm.
Probably is.
I told him to file a complaint with the zoning office. The sun was setting as the Sky Bandit flew towards the black form of Buckling Cross. "Whoa, Nelly," Calamity shouted, pulling up sharply as a half-dozen automated turrets turned our way. Velvet Remedy threw her shield around him as the guns opened fire.
Yep.
Bullets and lances of colored light filled the air around us. I focused, my horn glowing as
Like, all I can think of is how much easier this would be if Lil Pip just became Big Boss. It's a sneaking mission, boss. Get in, get out quiet. Take the water talismans. Like, and you can have so many cool adventures. Like, you can have the Steel Rangers with Metal Gear. Oh, that would be awesome.
Velvet Remedy cast her disintegration ward over us. The light of my magic flickered around each turret at Buckling Cross, not just the ones shooting at us, but all of them. For good measure, I extended my spell over the sentinel robot I could make out on the bridge. Calamity danced in the air, trying to keep the Sky Bandit from taking more than a few minor hits by putting himself between the guns and us. The shield around him was taking so many bullets it looked like a sparkler. I focused harder, working as fast as I could. I knew I could do this. I'd effectively done it before. Just yesterday I crawled out under the Sky Bandit and swapped out the spark batteries. I had the technical expertise. This was easy, but it was taking far longer than I wanted. Calamity's shield went down, a stream of bullets tearing through and slashing across his hide. Flesh wounds, little more than scratches, but over a dozen of them.
You
He yowled.
guys still sure diplomacy was the best option here?
We suddenly dropped several yards as he briefly forgot to keep flying. Calamity spread his wings and caught air again as Velvet Remedy threw up another shield around him as quickly as she could. All of a sudden, the turrets all shut down simultaneously. I had unscrewed their maintenance plates and pulled apart their spark batteries. They were dead. The Sentinel robot as well. I scowled, floating several dozen spark batteries back to the Sky Bandit. I was going to give the Steel Rangers every chance to do the right thing. But if the exchange earlier today was strike one, then this was strike two. Calamity lifted us back up and flew in for the landing. Responses came back from Stable Tech today. Sis found them in the mail. She was weeping over them when I got home from work. I've been accepted. She has not. I've been given a special broadcaster. When the call comes, I'm to make my way to Stable 34. The broadcast is supposed to be my proof of acceptance according to the letter, which warned me not to lose it. I offered to give my sister the broadcaster and thus my place in Stable 34. But she refused. She says she should be out here anyway. If the warning comes, she'll try to make it to Darling. I spent most of the evening pleading with her she drank herself into a stupor. The rest I spent crying and trying to convince myself that it doesn't matter anyway. The stables will never be used, after all. There's no way the zebras would dare use weaponized megaspells. That'd mean their utter destruction as surely as ours. I have to believe that. It's bad when work has become the high point of my day. But I'm not sure how long that's gonna last.
Nah.
Java's Cup is still losing a lot of business to Starbucks, and Mr. Beans is getting desperate. Today, Mr. Beans added a new vending machine to his coffee shop, an Iron Shot's Ammo Emporium vendor.
What?
Now you can buy your caffeine and your bullets in one easy stop. No good can come of this.
Oh, God.
As we landed, Velvet Remedy tossed up a shield in front of the Sky Bandit, molding it between the ruins of several chariots as she stepped out. Several Steel Rangers came charging towards us. A rocket whisked out of one of their battle saddles, impacting on the shield, which immediately collapsed in a stark reminder of the limitations of our unicorn's magical power.
"Greetings, Steel Rangers,"
Velvet said, magnifying her voice magically.
"We come in peace to negotiate the safe return of your esteemed elder."
I was willing to forgive the missile, but if they shot at her after that greeting, that would be strike three. The Steel Rangers slowed to a brisk trot. They weren't firing. At least not yet.
"Buckling Cross is the property of the Steel Rangers,"
one of them called out, her own voice magnified by the armor she wore.
"Leave at once. Any negotiations will commence afterwards."
I know what this place is, Night River Seed. And you would do well to mind your place. You are in the presence of two elders, one of whom is speaking to you.
Starpelt and Steelhooves?"
the Nightmare asked, clearly recognizing Steelhooves' unique voice. She stammered, trotting in place a moment.
We don't recognize your authority anymore. You're a traitor."
No, I'm a loyalist to the Ministry Mare and the true purpose of the Rangers,
Steelhooves told her flatly.
And you are a wet behind the ears knight barely graduated from Initiate, Night River Seed. Send out the pony in charge here.
That would be me, sir.
Steelhooves stood silently. Then, calmly,
You're kidding me.
the Steel Rangers stared back at us, 3 more joining the 3 already facing us. I spotted 2 more stepping out of the doorways high on the stone arches above, taking sniper positions. Steelhooves' voice couldn't hide his disbelief.
You're kidding me, right?
No, sir, Night Riverseed said, shifting hesitantly into a battle stance.
And I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to leave."
Aw, she's adorable.
I can see you're afraid, Night River Seed.
Steelhooves replied.
we have come bringing Elder Cottage cheese, whom we will return to you in exchange for 2 of the water talismans stored here in Buckling Cross. After that, we will leave. Not before.
Velvet Remedy was looking uncomfortable. Clearly her intention to be the negotiator had gone up in smoke.
Yep.
I brought up my eyes forward sparkle and
And that's where I'm in this